What's going on, y'all? Hey, we are super excited and really looking forward to bringing this to you today. We are bringing you your 2022 bold predictions.
Yeah.
So, who wants to kick us off and bring out that first bold prediction?
Well, there's all kinds of weird stuff going in the digital world. So tell us about that, Eliot.
Well, there's this thing called the Metaverse, which Jason was...
Metaverse, huh?
Yeah, the Metaverse. Ever heard of it?
Yeah, Facebook changed their name to Meta, right?
I saw Jason with his VRs on earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm it's on my wish list for Christmas, an Oculus this year.
Yeah.
I want to jump in, man.
I was surfing some powder.
Do you have an Oculus?
Yeah, of course, man.
Hell yeah, I figured.
I snowboard every morning.
In Decentraland?
The Central Land.
So what do we think? What's the bold prediction there, Jay? Give it to us.
I don't know. What is it? You have it written down over there.
Well, it is that there is going to be some specialization in the first digital land sales.
Yeah, that's right. We believe that there's going to be a broker out there that specializes in
digital land
sales. So
let's break that down for just a quick second, because I know our our listeners are super savvy, but what does that mean?
So basically, I think there's the Metaverse, right?
Uh-huh.
And there's going to be a lot of people in it eventually, right?
Yep.
And if you own a piece of that land, you can host digital people.
I know.
Digital parties.
Digital people.
Parties, yeah.
So, we're all going to log in and VR party it up, and we can see each other.
Yeah,
I
think we would be able to see each other, interact, do business, have meetings.
At the end of the... Go ahead, sorry.
No, what's that?
I was going to say, at the end of the day, it is kind of crazy when you really simplify that, because things only happen obviously because your brain says so. You see it, taste it, touch it, smell it, feel it. When we can do those things, which we all know VR is growing exponentially, it's one of the huge things on the horizon. When we can do that, and you do jack in, if you will, it will really curious thoughts. I have to admit.
You could put on. Everyone's seen that commercial. You can put on the hug jacket.
Yep.
Right. And you can hug someone from another country.
You laugh unless you really need a hug and nobody's around.
Yeah, I'm not hating, actually. I'm inspired.
You look at the jacket, you're like, well, maybe I do want a hug today.
I'm going to go get my jacket so I can get a hug.
And I forget this book I was listening to. I was talking about tech future and whatnot. One of the biggest things it was talking about was actually VR, how they working on the sensations for wind on your nervous system. Being able to smell all of these types of things.
Soaring over California. Remember that
I love that
ride?
Right? I love when you fly over the orange blossoms and you smell them. It's amazing.
The wind.
Yeah.
Yep.
But we have to. I think that the takeaway here is we have to realize that this digital real estate can be bought and sold. It can appreciate. It can depreciate. Yeah. And we believe that there will be a real estate company that comes out that will specialize in just digital land, digital real estate sales.
Pretty wild to think.
That's the bold prediction.
That's where we're at. Yeah.
So that's our first prediction. What about our second prediction?
So the next prediction is one of our hottest topics and companies that we've been talking about on and off all year because of how many eyeballs that they get every single month. It was Zillow with over 300 million visitors. The prediction there is that they are going to jump back into the cash offer space on some level, possibly, that aggregation, that
not
bridge
buying
buying.
It themselves. They already said no to
source
that.
it out. So give it to us, Keith, on that. How do we think Zillow is going to jump back into the game?
Well, it would make sense, right? The customer acquisition is super cheap for them still.
Yep.
And like you said, they have the eyeballs, so it wouldn't really be that difficult of a transition for them. They were already doing it before they started acquiring homes.
They still have their mortgage company.
Yeah,
the mortgage company.
So,
power buyer.
There's that new silly
cash buyer
term in our industry called the power buyer. And so they'll do that on top of being an aggregator. And hey, let's face the facts. Where's the real money in the business? Title and loans. So they can still crush it from that aspect and get a little piece of the pie from working with these aggregators. And if I can get some low leads that don't cost me a ton of money from Zillow, it makes sense for that type of partnership.
Well, not only that too, I could see them actually developing some type of come into our ecosystem, you have option A, B, or C. Here's almost like a
Zoodealio marketplace.
like
Yeah.
a Zoodealio marketplace.
offer dashboard.
Sound familiar, guys?
Well, this just kind of segues into our third bold prediction, and that is CoStar will continue to make a splash in the residential real estate space. And I mean, I heard.
Oof.
Oh, go ahead. What were you saying?
Well, I just think that, if you weren't at the National Association of Realtors conference in November, what I heard was CoStar made quite the splash.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
they-
threw a gigantic party. They brought in Keith Urban. They practically closed down the Gaslight District. And apparently, you couldn't look anywhere at that conference without seeing one of their flyers that said, your listings, your leads. So our bold prediction is that CoStar is going to enter the power buying and the iBuying space by acquiring a company such as Zoodealio to aggregate these cash offers and options and empower realtors across America to compete.
Little sidebar, Andy Florence, if you're listening, we want to talk to you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it would make sense too. I mean, think about it. Yeah, there's all kinds of companies out there, and that might want to acquire commercial space to turn it into whatever. And so,
Sure.
if they have a platform like that, not only could they get into the residential side, they could really probably further progress in the commercial side too.
Yeah.
I'd be really curious. I mean, obviously they've dominated the commercial space for such a long time, but a company that has a valuation of, I think, north of $100 billion. I mean, it's way up there, right? What they've been able to achieve, their resources are exponential. I'm just going off of Brad Inman talking about Andy Florence and all the times that the appreciation that he has for his business acumen and all of those types of things. I think there could be some really, really curious, cool moves come out of that.
They're really using the hate for Zillow too.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're banking on that.
Yep.
That's funny. Yep. All right. So bold prediction number
4.
4.
Well, this is one of the big ones. So if we take a little trip down memory lane, there's this company called Amazon, if you guys have ever heard of them.
Amazon?
I have.
And
those trucks that are dropping off packages everywhere.
Oh, I know. It's only the number one company, I think, in the world now. I think they rival Apple on some levels still.
Anyone else notice how slow Amazon Prime is these days?
Oh my goodness. Supply chain.
I know.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I know. It used to be always, it's not here in 10 minutes. What the heck?
Yeah, I know. It's fun.
So remember in 2019, I believe it was, where they had started talking about that they were going to actually some form try to start kind of jumping in
with
the
Realogy, right?
Yep, Realogy in the iBuy space, and they had come out with all of their different models and the way that you could buy and change the law. I forget exactly the suite that they had, but it was like this way
some
to
key
upgrade.
thing,
I remember that. So part of that bold prediction is that Amazon is going to jump back into the real estate space in 2022.
At some level.
At some level, they're going to dip their toe in it.
And I think they're going to come back in.
I mean,
They got some fillers out there. Well, hey, real estate sales this past year broke $2 trillion in sales, right? So that's, a huge, huge, huge asset size class. So they're going to have an opportunity to now kind of come in and gobble up market, gobble up more business.
It'd be cool to see CoStar and Amazon.
Oh, shoot.
Wow.
Oh,
That would be
shoot.
powerful. That would be cool to see those two come together. But yeah, we agree. I mean, Amazon's been sitting on the sidelines. It's been just the hottest real estate market really ever. And they've not been taking a very active approach. So we think they're going to revive those partnerships with Realogy. And we think we're going to see some offerings of some sort.
I can see. I mean, let's face it. It's Amazon,
They own
right?
Ring,
they,
too.
dude,
They own Ring, so that's,
yeah. I could
there's a
see him
lot of
acquiring
opportunity there.
another company. I mean, and the other thing too, I'm curious. There's so many companies that are going to go public, like a Keller Williams and all these types of things. I'm really curious to know what's going to happen this year, and so many things that could rival a lot of these all of these things that we're talking about. So, power of the agent carries a lot of power.
Well, let's
Right.
talk about something that we live and breathe every day. Just the overall iBuyer market.
This is
in
like
2022.
the final one.
And
This is number 5.
we can really dive into this one because I think there's a little bit of misconception on what the iBuyer market really is.
Yes.
So before we do this though, let's talk about kind of that trip down the memory lane, especially because I know that the market share this year doubled from where it was a year ago. I mean,
almost
What
doubled.
market
Yeah,
Almost
share?
doubled.
1 to 1.9%.
What market share?
Yeah.
iBuyer
Why don't you give
market
it to
share.
Why don't give it to us?
iBuyer
Give us
market
that. But give us that bold prediction.
Well, I think you were saying market share, and I
Yep.
just wanted you to make sure our
I know, I was kinda
listeners
trying
and
to
viewers
tiptoe.
know what you're talking about. It's iBuyer market
Yep.
share, right?
Yep.
And it's grown in 2021 iBuyer market share. We don't know the number yet, clearly, because the year's not over, but
Right.
we're seeing it probably going to end up around 2%.
Right. 1.9, yeah, ish is what I recently saw per the last 2 quarters from supposedly a report in Inman.
Yep. Zillow, the Zillow iBuyer report came out.
Yep.
So what's our bold prediction for 2022 with iBuyer market share?
That it's going to grow to 5%.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
5%.
I am listening to this or I'm watching this and I'm going, are you kidding me? Zillow got out.
Nationally.
How could iBuyer market share continue to grow? Zillow's out.
It's hard to put a quote unquote percentage on it, and honestly, I think it's already higher than that right
Let's
now.
just talk about.
I think it's already higher.
all the hedge funds and
Institutional
REITs,
buyers.
institutions that are buying these
Yep.
homes and putting them on for rent.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of key trend-setting markets such as the Phoenix Metro, Atlanta, even Northern California. It's super high right now. All over Florida, where the market share is well over 5%, right? And that's after this 2021 hottest market we've seen in well over a decade. And that's, I mean, when you think about that, every seller knew it, and the market share is still far above that. Almost all those markets I just mentioned is between 5 and 10%. And so when you think about that, with the market being projected to slow a little bit, what do we think home sellers are going to do?
Right. I mean, sitting here in Gilbert, Arizona, which is part of the Phoenix market, and our buyer market share is about 12%. So
Huge.
hottest seller market of all time. I'm thinking that if the market does start to slow down a little bit, we're going to see more sellers that are going to accept or entertain iBuyer offers.
Yep.
Yeah, I think there's
Heck
three.
yeah.
There's 3 markets that are over 10%. I think 2022 we're going to see 9 markets over 10%.
Boom. Which
See-
is really going to affect that overall
Yep.
U.S. home sale iBuyer market share of 5%, which is what the prediction is.
So if you're listening to this and you're thinking that iBuyer market share is going to go down because Zillow's out of the game, what we're here to kind of share with you and kind of pull back the curtain is that the institutional buyer activity is likely, as Keith mentioned, probably higher because there are a lot of hedge funds, real estate investment trusts, et cetera, that are purchasing up a lot of single family residences across the country.
Yep.
And so Mike with Altos Research said about 10% of our housing stock every quarter is being purchased by these institutional buyers. And so
Huge.
we think that the iBuyer market show where it will continue to grow. It won't just be Redfin Now, Open Door, OfferPad. It will be these other institutional buyers that you may or may not even know are iBuyers.
Most people don't know about them. What would be the reason that an agent would know about these companies? Because they already have their own systems in place. They already have their own relationships in place, and they're buying off market deals. And you can only get through the companies like this through somebody like a Zoodealio or a partnership like that, right? You can't just go to these people's websites
Nope.
and submit a property that doesn't exist.
Nope.
And that's where the misconception is. There's so much more real estate transactions happening on market deals and off market deals
Yeah.
that I can't say for certain, but I don't think are probably all truly being factored.
I
Yeah.
agree. I agree 100%. Knowing what we know now.
Yep, exactly.
And this is stuff that we didn't know a few years ago, right? Like
Yeah.
this is all really
Yeah.
recent stuff.
Yeah, I think like Keith was just saying, when you have these on market deals and when you look at how many houses that they're buying that are on market, right? Like they're gobbling up houses on the MLS, and these are houses that are going to be owned for they're
Probably
leasing them
7 to
back
10
out.
years.
Yeah, they're leasing them back out. And so when you think about that, going back to a supply chain issue, that puts more pressure on builders, that puts more pressure on inventory, which means that a lot of times the forecast should stay, thinner with some of this inventory, but it also, these sellers looking for that instant solution, going to continue to grow.
Absolutely.
Okay, I like it. Those have been 5 bold predictions, and those are the 5 predictions we kind of all brainstormed together. But I want to give a prediction on what we believe the market will do.
Ooh.
in
Or what about interest rates
2022.
too?
I think I think inventory is gonna stay low. I don't know if we're gonna see as much appreciation next year as we did this year. But
Well, give us the number. Give us the number, Keith. Come on.
What do you mean?
What's appreciation going to be in 2022 for
from
you?
what, a national level?
Yep,
I
national
think
level.
I think 10% or less.
10% or
10%.
I
less.
hope it's 10% or less. Honestly, it's
Staggering high
too.
still. Yeah.
My guess
which is still super high.
7% for me.
Mine was going to say we're right in line. 7 to 10% is what I was thinking.
So I'm going to go with the average of Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, NAR, MBA, and Zelman's, and that's 5.1% appreciation.
Dang. All right.
Well, I
then.
love that, but at the end of the day, like for me, I'll be bold personally and say it. Like I know so many people want these equity growths, and when you're a homeowner and all that, you want it. But at the same time, and when you look at just general economics of supply and demand, and the ripple effect of how it affects inflation and so many other areas, I for one hope that we don't have a year of 10% appreciation again. I hope we don't.
So in the right markets and the right houses that fit a particular buy box, I don't see why not. A lot of these hedge funds that we were just discussing are buying properties at full market value. And what do we know historically? When a homeowner's house is listed on the market, almost always they're asking for top dollar, if not above list or above, top dollar, because why not play the open market? You got nothing to lose unless, you have a reason to get out ASAP. And then some of these off market deals, they're giving smoking offers too. And if all those are being factored, I mean, there's no reason.
Well, I mean, in these big companies that are powered with billions of dollars, they're running trends data, they're running behavior metrics. They have access to all of these different sources. So some of these predictions, maybe you are right.
And I think that we're going to see rents go higher.
I think rents makes me want to throw up.
Rents will still continue to go higher than appreciation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, rents have been fairly stagnant, right? So rents will continue to increase, I think, at a faster pace.
Absolutely. Up until this year, I think they've skyrocketed this year. Rents have really skyrocketed. But I mean, as an investor landlord, it makes me stoked, excited.
For sure. Well, there were some bold predictions for you. Hey, we've enjoyed you being part of our journey this year. Thank you so much for listening to the iBuyer Experiment, and we look forward to connecting
2022.
with you.
Yeah, we look 2022, baby. Thank you, everyone.
We got a
for
year,
tuning
and
in with us.
we get to know if we were right or not.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes,
It's
we will recap
fun
this
to go
next
back
year.
and take a look at what we said.
This will be fun.
And what it'll be.
How wrong we are.
Yeah, I know. Be like, oh, yeah, let's rethink that one.
Yeah.
I also think interest rates will be at 4.
I was going to say, I actually think they're going to go to a 4.25.
4.25.
In 1 year.
I do.
Ooh,
I hope not.
I don't know.
I hope not too.
Well, like I said, especially since they came out and said that they are going to not be, they were going to be not ease the hike as much as, I forget exactly how they worded it, but essentially they're going to raise it more than they anticipated.
Well, and there's talk about them trying to pump another $3.5 trillion into the market again. So we'll see.
Well, parting
That
thoughts, but I
passes.
think we are out of time, right? So,
Yeah. All right, well,
love you guys. Catch you, right?
Yep. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. See you in 2022.